Lucimus Prime here, so it is time for the next episode of my series of video games that did not need sequels. And in today's video, I'm going to cover this time an example of an action-adventure video game set in a post-apocalyptic future, in which there is of course, a land ruled by robotic creatures, and humans are now living in tribes, back in, of course, the Dark Ages sort of thing, really. And these robots, of course, rule the lands. And this video game is also a game which I think is definitely really good, and for me is a game that did not need sequels, of course. And that game, of course, is none other than 2017's Horizon Zero Dawn. So, you guys are going to ask me, of course, what do I think of this game then? So, I played this game in 2023 last year, and I also managed to platinum it. And I can say that, in my opinion, it's a really good game, and I definitely had lots of fun playing it. And I definitely really like the character Aloy. I think she's a very good character in this video game. Definitely my favourite role of Ashly Burch, who plays her, does a great job. And I think it's also great graphics for its time as well, absolutely, which are very stunning to look at. And I think the world building is really interesting as well. And of course, about this whole new post-apocalyptic world, I think is really interesting. Story thing is also really good as well. And if you guys would ask me what my favourite part of the game is, it's most definitely the absolute legend, Lance Reddick, may he rest in peace, who of course plays the character Silence. Silence is definitely my favourite part of the game, absolutely. And Lance Reddick did a phenomenal job playing Silence, absolutely. Definitely, in my opinion, one of his best roles of all time. And yeah, rest in peace to Lance, we lost him way too soon. Rest in peace, Lance. And this game is also, in my opinion, what Avatar, the movie, should have been too, because I personally think it handles the idea of a future with sci-fi way more interestingly than Avatar did, in my opinion, absolutely. So, when it comes, of course, to why I think the game did not need sequels then, so, at the end of the game, of course, we get a pretty epic final level in which Aloy, of course, fights off the machines, which are led by an AI system called Hades. And it was definitely, in my opinion, a really fun final level, in my opinion, and where she also recruited several of the different tribes to help her, which I thought was really good too as well. And she's able to destroy Hades, and then that, of course, ends the war right there. And she also kills the tribe leader Hellis as well, and fights off the machines, and she activates the Master Override on Hades, which ends the war right there. And at the end of the game, she goes back to Sorbek's old home, and she mourns her predecessor. So, right there, I did not see any sign of sequel baiting whatsoever, and we did also get a post-credit scene where Silence traps Hades, and I like to pretend that in that scene, he's trapping Hades so he can destroy Hades for good, and not, of course, interrogate him like, of course, what happens in the next game. So, because, personally, I think because the war's over, I don't see a point of them doing sequels to begin with at all. I really don't see a point of it, because all the enemies are destroyed, so what's the point of doing a sequel? Like, I really don't see a point of it, to be completely honest. But sadly, however, despite this, of course, I think it was 5 years later, we did get a sequel, and this was unfortunately for me a massive disappointment compared to the first game, and that, of course, was Horizon Forbidden West. So, I got this for Christmas 2022, guys, and when I played this game, I was hoping it'd be as good as the first game, but unfortunately, I didn't hear much good things about it when it comes to reviews, so I approached it with caution, and unfortunately, compared to the first game, which I thought was a lot of fun to play, I was very disappointed with the sequel. So, I feel that, in my opinion, it ruined the ending of the first game because the war was over, so I didn't see the point of them doing any more. And of course, it's also a rumour post-credit scene because it was revealed that Silence was for some reason interrogating Hades, not destroying it, so I don't understand why they did that. That's why I pretend in Horizon, the first game's credit scene, he's destroying it and not capturing it for interrogation. So, I personally think that was just a really dumb move how he did that. And also as well, I also thought that Aloy, in my opinion, was made really unlikable because compared to the first game where she's a very likeable character to play as, in this game, sequel, in my opinion, she's just really annoying and just so unlikable compared to her character. I must also add that, in my opinion, her redesign sucks as well. Like, what the hell happened to her? Goodness me. And not to mention as well, that the sequel also, in my opinion, felt way too big, in my opinion, but compared to other games I played which have had big open worlds in the sequels, this one, in my opinion, was bigger in a bad way, because the game just felt way too bloated in my opinion, and eventually I just got fed up, because it's also got, in my opinion, harder to do as well. Many missions, in my opinion, were very stressful and annoying, because I didn't have a clue what to do. I had to rely on YouTube playthroughs to solve puzzles and all that, and what to do in certain levels, because I was really confused. The first game, in my opinion, had much easier things to do in the missions and in the puzzles, whereas in the sequel they were difficult, in my opinion. I just couldn't stand it. So eventually, when I was like solving like puzzles in like a camp or something, I just gave up on the game. I had enough. So I uninstalled and instead played Injustice 2 because I had enough. And when it comes, of course, to me having a PS5 now, of course, the game did get a PS5 release too, as well as a PS4 release, but I personally do not have any plans to revisit the game on PS5, no. Because compared to the first game, which I thought was really good, the sequel, in my opinion, was just a letdown, in my opinion, because it made Aloy very unlikable. The graphic redesign for her character, in my opinion, was not good. And the story, in my opinion, was also not good either, because, like I said, massacred Aloy, and it made the first game pointless as well, I must say. And the sequel just felt way too big, in my opinion. Like, and I say too big in a bad way, because it just got too much. It was overwhelming, in my opinion. And compared to the first game, it also looks like it's also harder platinum to do, which is also a big shame as well. The other thing I liked about the game, I guess, was the acting, especially, of course, from Lance Reddick, which was, in this game, was sadly his last time playing Silence, rest in peace. And I did like the new cast members being Angela Bassett and Carrie-Anne Moss. I guess they were good additions too as well, but still, in my opinion, the game was a massive letdown compared to the really good first game. Because the first game, for me, is like a solid 9 out of 10 game. It's just a shame that the sequel couldn't live up to it, or be better than it. Like, I can't believe the sequel just was disappointing. I was hoping it'd be better, but I was painfully wrong. So, I like to pretend, guys, that there's only one Horizon game, just one. And I wish that Guerrilla Games would go back to making Killzone games instead now, because I'm hoping that the disappointing reception to this game will give them a chance to realise that Killzone deserves a comeback. And I really hope they do, of course, do more, because I love Killzone as a franchise. So, anyway, though, guys, this is me covering why, in my opinion, Horizon Zero Dawn is an example of a game that did not need sequels. So, you know the drill, guys. Be sure to give this video a like. Also, be sure to write in the comments what you guys think of Horizon Zero Dawn. Do you need a sequel or not? Let me think in the comments below. Also, be sure to join Team Prime by pressing subscribe in the coming future. And I'll see you all later.